You ever feel like you're in this constant losing battle with your own habits? Yeah, me too. Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive deep into the hidden forces that are secretly shaping everything we do day in and day out. We're talking about the invisible architect of our habits, and it's all based on some really fascinating research.
I mean, it's a question we've all asked ourselves at some point, right? Why are those bad habits so ridiculously hard to break, while the good ones feel impossible to form? You know the drill. You decide you're going to start this brand new, healthy routine, and maybe a week later, you're right back where you started. So what is really going on here?
Okay, so the answer might actually surprise you. It turns out all this research suggests we've been fighting completely the wrong battle. It's not about willpower. It's not about having more grit. The real key, the thing that changes everything, is your environment.
All right, let's really get into this. To get a handle on our habits, we've got to look beyond just the simple, obvious triggers. We need to find that hidden driver that's pulling all the strings.
So, here's the absolute crucial point. The context is the cue. See, a habit might start with just one little trigger, but our brains are way smarter than that. Over time, they start to associate the entire situation, the whole context, with that one behavior.
Okay, let's make this real. Think about social drinking. The cue to grab a beer isn't just seeing one other person drinking. No way. It's the whole vibe, right? It's your friends all ordering, it's the music playing in the bar, it's seeing the row of beers on tap. Your brain just bundles all that sensory info together and goes, aha, this is the time and place where we have a drink.
So if we take that idea and run with it, we start to see that our environment itself is the cue. And man, this idea completely changes how we should be thinking about the spaces we live and work in every single day.
And this quote from the source material, I just love this. Stop thinking about your environment as filled with objects. Start thinking about it as filled with relationships. That's a total game changer, isn't it? It's not about the stuff around you. It's about the relationship you've built with that stuff. How do you use it? How do you interact with it?
I mean, just look at a couch. For one person, that couch is where she goes to read for an hour every night. That's the relationship. For another person, that same couch is where he crashes after work to watch TV and eat a pint of ice cream. Same object, totally different habits. It all comes down to the relationship.
But, and this is the best part, this is not a life sentence. You are not just a victim of your environment. You can actually intentionally train yourself to build new relationships. You can link the habits you want to have with a very specific context. You're in the driver's seat here.
Okay, so that brings us to the practical stuff. How do we actually do this? Let's talk strategy. Let's get into how you can design your space for success.
So the research basically points to two main paths you can take here. Path number one, you can just change your environment completely. Or path number two, you can redefine the environment you're already in.
All right, let's talk about that first one, escaping the old cues by going somewhere new. You know, sometimes the easiest way to break an old habit is to just get away from all its triggers. When you're in a new place, you're not constantly fighting those old cues that are always nudging you back to your old ways. It's like a clean slate.
And this doesn't have to be some huge, dramatic change. For instance, if you're trying to focus on work, just go to a different coffee shop, one where you haven't already built the habit of scrolling through social media. Want to shop healthier? Try a totally new grocery store so your brain isn't on autopilot grabbing the same junk from aisle 5. A new space really gives a new habit a fighting chance to stick.
But what if you can't just pick up and go to a new place? That's where strategy number 2 comes in. And this one is all about redefining a space by, and this is key, relentlessly associating it with a single action.
There was this incredible study on insomnia that shows this perfectly. Researchers told the participants to only get in bed when they were tired. That's it. And if they couldn't sleep, they had to get up and go to another room. Over time, their brains created this super strong new connection. Bed is for sleep, period. Not for checking your phone, not for watching TV, just sleep. And guess what? It became so much easier for them to fall asleep.
And this whole powerful idea, this whole strategy can be boiled down to one really simple, really memorable mantra.
And here it is. One space, one use. Seriously, if you take away just one thing from all of this, let it be that phrase. One space, one use. It is the golden rule for designing your environment for success. Think of it this way. Every single habit should have a home.
Just look at this before and after from the author's own experience. Before, the couch and the kitchen table were this jumbled mess of cues. Work, emails, relaxing, eating, all in the same spots. It was impossible to mentally turn off from work.
But then, after creating a dedicated office, boom! The division was crystal clear. The office was only for work. The kitchen was only for cooking. Every room had just one job.
Okay, but this is where it gets a little tricky in the modern world, right? I'm talking about our devices. Your phone is the perfect example of a total mishmash of cues. You might want to use it for something productive, but you've also trained your brain that it's for social media and games and endless emails. Its greatest strength, that it can do everything, is also its greatest weakness for our habits.
And yeah, I can practically hear some of you saying, that's great and all, but my apartment is tiny. I don't have a separate office. My kitchen table has to be my desk. And you know what? That's a completely fair point. So what do you do when your space is really limited?
The solution is to create activity zones. Think smaller. Even if it's all in the same room, you can have a specific chair that is only for reading, a specific spot at the desk that is only for writing. And you can do this digitally too. Maybe your laptop is just for work, your tablet is just for reading, and your phone is for social media. The main idea is the same, just on a smaller scale. Every habit has to have its own home.
So, when you boil it all down, here's the bottom line. A stable, predictable environment leads to stable, predictable behaviors. When you create a space where everything has its purpose, the good habits you're trying to build just start to feel automatic, almost effortless.
And that brings us to a final question, something for you to really think about. If you're serious about changing your behavior, what's just one space, maybe it's a chair or just one corner of your kitchen table, what's one space you can redefine, starting today?